Hey, this is Paul from Guitar World, and today we'll be looking at the 100-watt Engl Powerball head. Now, much like a fancy German car, the Powerball is pretty much the same thing, a fine-tuned and high-precision instrument. So let's take a closer look at this great-sounding head. At first glance, the Engl Powerball looks quite complex on its front panel, but actually it's very intuitive and easy to get around it. Now, my only caveat about this amp is that you're going to need a couple of foot switches to get the most out of this amp, because essentially the Powerball is a 2-channel 4-mode amp. And I will show you how each channel works, because each channel has 2 modes to it. So in order to access all 4 modes, or access each mode on each channel, you're going to need another foot switch. And also it has dual master volumes, which allows you to set a variable volume for each channel. So you can get a rhythm sound and a lead sound for each channel, but you'll also need a foot switch to activate that. Everything else on the amp, of course, is easy to access because it's all done by the front panel buttons. So I will show you each mode and each channel just from the front panel. The top bunch of knobs over here are both the clean and crunch channel. So you have to pick, if you're only going to use it plugging straight in through the front, which you're going to use, whether you're going to be using the clean or the crunch. Right now I have it on clean, and what's interesting about this, you have separate volumes for the clean and separate volume for the crunch, and also you have separate treble for both the clean and the crunch. Then you also have the bass and middle knob, which is shared. The only thing that you can kind of alter is just the treble clean or the treble crunch, depending on which mode it is. So over here where it says gain, you basically set your gain for either clean or the crunch. Unfortunately, you can't set separate gains for clean and crunch, so you're going to have to really pick one. So I have it moderately set over here, and this is where it's clean. And the clean on this amp is very pristine. And that's pretty much your first channel up here with 2 modes. Moving over to the bottom channel here, this is a 2-mode lead channel. So you basically have a low gain lead sound and a high gain lead sound on this channel. And then over here, much like the first channel, you have 2 mid controls, one for an open sound and one for a focus sound. And you'll see over here the button that allows you to choose between the open and focus sound. So you can basically set 2 types of sound using open and focus. Over here, you switch between the 2 modes, which is the low gain and the high gain. And then of course you can set the volume for each of those modes. So here's the low gain lead knob and the high gain lead knob. And then of course you have your overall gain on the end over here. Other features that you can also alter, of course, are the 2 buttons the buttons on each channel, where you can basically set more bottom end for the low channel or more bottom end for the lead channel. Up here on the first channel, you can set the brightness by just using the switch and more bottom end. Over here, when you look at the 3 knobs over here, this basically is the channel selector. And of course, as I said before, this switches between the 2 gains on this channel or the 2 modes on this channel just by hitting the switch. So you can see I can go to crunch or to clean. So basically, I've set a clean on this channel, and when I go over here, I'm on the low gain on this channel. And of course, the open and focus knob. There is a master volume A over here and a master B volume here. Like as I said before, you can set 2 different volumes, one for your rhythm, and if you have a foot switch, you can access this to get more of a louder lead sound. So it's a variable volume control. There's also the global presence and then the global depth punch, which is more or less a resonance control. 4 tubes over here, and the really cool thing about this amp, if you look right over here, it has a tube failure thing. So if there's any one of your tubes goes in the set, it'll light up and tell you which tube it is, and it'll reconfigure the amp to make the amp work with the existing tubes. It's a great feature built into this amp. One final thing to note is there's a noise gate knob on the back of this amp, which is really cool, but it's only for the lead channel, and really, trust me, you're going to need it for that lead channel. There's tons of gain on tap. All right, let's hear this amp. I'm going to begin with the clean sound on the first channel, and you'll get to hear how pristine it sounds. Here we go. So that was the clean channel without the bright switch engaged. Now watch when I kick in the bright switch, you'll hear it pops a little bit more like a single coil. Take a listen first. Here's the old sound. And let's do the same thing as I kick in the bright switch. Keep in mind, I also had that on the open setting for this head. So what happens is if I'm going to kick in the focus on the clean channel, the sound becomes bolder. Let's hear what that sounds like. Here's the open sound again. And here's the focus sound. Sticking on the clean channel, now I'm going to change the mode to crunch, and you'll get to hear the crunch sound on this channel. So here we go. So that was the crunch sound. Now, I dialed the gain back on that a lot, so you can see that's where it was when I just did that demo. Now I'm going to dial the gain up a bit so you can really hear how much gain is on tap on this channel. So let's put it about here and take a listen. So that was the crunch channel. Now let's move over to the second channel, which is the high and low gain channel. And let's hear the low gain sound. So you just heard the low gain channel with the open sound. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it over to the focus sound, which really tightens it up a bit. And again, it makes the sound a little bolder. So let's start hearing the open sound here, and then I'll kick in the focus. Now let's move over to the high gain sound on this channel, and this is great. There's so much gain on this channel that I doubt you'll need any sort of stomp box in front of this thing. So let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, sticking on that same channel, let's hear the focus sound. I'm going to start with the open sound and then kick in the focus so you get to hear the difference. Here we go. Finally, I'm going to have a little bit of fun. The great thing about this Powerball is that it sustains for days. So it really is very Spinal Tap-esque. So let me demonstrate what I'm talking about. Here we go. All right, I had to kill it. I've been here forever. The Engl Powerball is a fantastic dual-channel, multi-mode, high-gain amplifier. If you're looking for extreme versatility, if you play hard rock or heavy metal, this is the amp that is worth your time. Check it out.